The name of my book is Your Divided Brain, and the subtitle is How Two Selves Make One Mind. This book is about how the right brain and left brain differ, and how you can learn to work and think more on one brain side than the other. Everyone wants to know how their consciousness is organized, and this book tells you how it is.
Wow, okay, cool.
Great title and subtitle. Very interesting premise for a book. And as an agent, the immediate question is, so who are you, and why are you the person that can tell me the answers to this? Are you a scientist? Are you a doctor? Who and what are you? Because when you go to sell a book like this, the person's expertise is the number one thing, even more than the idea, that is going to help you sell the book. So the platform.
Yeah. And I just wanted a couple of quick examples of how I can harness my right and left brain, which for me are continuously seem to be at some kind of tug of war battle. All day they're duking it out inside of my head. Just a couple of quick examples of how specifically you're going to help me harness the power of my incredible brain.
I have to admire the ballsiness of the 15-second pitch, because I'm just sitting here going, God, I don't think I can do this in 3 minutes, and she does it in 15 seconds. But I think you brought up the most important point right away, platform, because it's really compelling. It says to us, this is a book with answers, but then I got to ask, who are you? Are you a PhD? What about your experience? And it doesn't mean you have to. It's going to make it a lot easier with the publisher. I mean, you could just be a philosophical person who's done a lot of research on their own, but we have to have something to know why. But you did an excellent job of, it was, sometimes it pays just to be ballsy like that. Oh, you guys need a minute, you can't finish? Well, I'm going to do it in 15 seconds and walk away in 45. Well, it turns out you could have used your 45 seconds, but I still like it. I like it, I think, because it leaves an impression. It was very informative. Also, I think you're an advantage. Let's take her book against Jeff's book. I think it's an eminently more pitchable product. You know what I mean? Literary fiction is the hardest thing to, you know what I mean? So, but I think I think it's great news that you had 45 seconds. Now I think you got to figure out how to use the rest of it. But still, props for getting it.
Absolutely.
Oh, you guys.
To expand the concept of platform just a little bit more, yes, as a rep, I got to know who you are. But this brings us to another issue. When we're selling books and learning about the authors, we want to know where these people are born, where they went to school. We want to know every school they went to geographically. We want to know where they traveled to.
And this is for nonfiction.
For nonfiction generally, but we also want to know it for fiction actually, because we know that those territories could be a great launching pad to get people immediately. They have one connection. Maybe they, 1 degree, 2 degrees of separation. They're going to care much more about this person and their work than anyone else on the concentric circles outside of that. So it just brings up a good point about who you are, what you do, and who you're connected with really matters.
My first book was a memoir that was about my crazy late teenage life, and I got this great publicist in England when the book came out, and I told her everything about myself and all these weird details. I'm a golfer, and she hooked me up with a guy who's the book writer for The Scotsman, who's a golfer. Now the book has nothing to do with golfing, couldn't be any further away from golfing. But the guy took me out on the golf course and then wrote a big piece that was on the front page of the Arts and Entertainment with a big picture of me, as a dorky looking golfer. So what you're saying is absolutely right. These little details about who you are absolutely play a huge part in being able to sell your book. And nowadays, publishers more and more want you to do the work of selling the book. They are understaffed. They don't have the resources, the manpower, the woman power to get out there and sell your book. So that is, and especially in this book, again, I'll just reiterate, it's such an important part of being able to sell this book.